Hi everyone, my name is Kevin. Today I want to show you how you can write a fantastic resume that will help you land the job of your dreams. How do I know this? Well, I work at Microsoft. I've been there for about 13 years now, and I've interviewed hundreds of candidates, and I've also looked at hundreds of resumes. And along the way, I've learned a thing or two about what makes a good resume and then also what makes a bad resume. And today I want to share that with you, so hopefully you can really up your resume game. The thing to think about a resume is it's really your chance to make a fantastic first impression. Think about it this way: if you don't make a good first impression, you'll never actually get to meet the hiring manager, and you won't have a chance to show them your charming smile, and you won't be able to convince them why you're the right person for a job. That's why a resume is so important. This over here is the typical resume that you'll see. At the top, you have your name, you have contact information, address on the left-hand side, and then the meat of the resume is in the middle where you talk about your different experiences. Then you might have some information about your education, and at the very bottom, maybe different skills that you want to call out. But the experience section is really the meat of it. And today I want to run through how you can really make that section of your resume shine. Before we jump into it, I wanted to show a quick example from my resume. If you want to take a look at my resume, it's on LinkedIn. You could just type in my name, Kevin Stratford, and you could see what my resume looks like. Now, my resume isn't the best, and I'm sure there's room for improvement, but what I've done is I've taken a lot of these different things that I'm going to talk about today of what makes a good resume, and I've used them when crafting my resume. So you could take a look at that as an example, and today I'm going to show you the rationale and the thought that went into how I created this experience section and how I structured all these bullets. The first thing, as a hiring manager, when I get a resume, sometimes every once in a while someone submits a resume and you just have this massive block of text that appears on the resume. In this example, here it starts out, worked at J. Allen Meat Company in Tacoma, Washington, and managed accounting division in this role, and it goes on and on and on. By the end of this paragraph, I just start daydreaming and I start thinking about, hey, the weekend's coming up. What am I going to do on the weekend? I don't want to be sitting here reading this text. The one thing to think of is as a hiring manager who has a lot of resumes coming in, you're not going to be the only resume who I'm looking at. I might have 10 resumes on my desk. In extreme cases, maybe you have 20 or 30 resumes that have come in for a position. If I'm trying to go through 20 or 30 resumes, I'm not going to take time reading this big block of text. Instead, I want to see what is the important thing you did, what are the results that you achieved, and I'll show you how to do that. You also don't want to take that big block of text and just convert it into bullet points. That's not the idea. So you don't want to just take that and convert it into these sections. That's not the right approach. One thing I always like to think about when I'm writing a resume or when I read really good resumes is it's really a movie trailer. What you're trying to do is, as a hiring manager, when I'm reading, say, an experience section or I'm reading about a position that you had, I want to be enticed to learn more about it. I want to be enticed to call you in so I could ask you about what that position was and what you accomplished. I don't want to just find out about the full movie. Anytime you meet with a friend and they start describing what happened in a movie in its entirety, it just kind of annoys me. So think movie trailer, not full movie when you're structuring your experiences section on your resume. In terms of the kind of key takeaways and what to think of with the experience section is you really want to keep it brief. In general, if you're going to have a bullet point, stick to 1 to 3 sentences per bullet point. And also for a position, really you just want to have really a max of 5 to 6 bullet points. You don't really want to go above and beyond that. You should be focusing on the most impactful things that you did. And lastly, you want to make sure that you start with the most impactful item first and then go down from there. And think of it this way: as a hiring manager, when you're looking at a resume, you're going to start from top to bottom. And if you have limited time, you want to make sure you communicate the most important thing first, because hey, I might not make it down the list and read all the bullet points. As you're writing your bullet points for your resume, this is something that I learned in college and it really resonated with me and something that I've used ever since then on my resume. And when I see good resumes, they tend to incorporate this same structure, and it's called the ACQ Model, or ACQ, I guess, if you were to speak out the acronym. But what it means is you start with your action, then you provide some context, then you talk about the result that you achieved, and then you quantify it. So action, context, result, quantify. And let's actually jump into an example and I'll walk through how you could actually put this system to use. I'll use my YouTube channel as an example. So the action might be I launched a YouTube channel. That's what I did. And then the context is that provides viewers with high quality tutorials. And I know some of you might be looking at that saying, I don't know if they're really that high quality, but for this example, just go along with it. So the context is that provides viewers with high quality tutorials. And then the result that I achieve with that, well, what I do is I deliver views. So people go and watch these videos and they watch them, or what YouTube describes as watch minutes. So that's the result that I'm getting. And lastly, I could say, hey, I get views and I get watch minutes, but then one of the main questions might be, well, how much do you get? Because, if I'm getting 1 view, that's not really that impressive. If I'm getting 200,000, that's a little more impressive. So what we want to do is we want to quantify. So what I could say is generating over 12,000 views and 432 hours of watch time per day. So you really quantify what that result was. And so if we pull it all together now, the way a good bullet point looks is first you start with the action. So I launched a YouTube channel, then we jump into the context that provides viewers with high quality tutorials, and then we jump into the results and we quantify it, generating over 12,000 views and over 432 hours of watch time per day. So that's how you really structure an effective bullet point that has a lot of oomph and power to it. And so what you want to do is, as you're writing your bullet point, you typically want to try to avoid personal pronouns and also articles. And what do I mean by that? Well, you don't want to say, I launched a YouTube channel. The thing is, the resume is all about you already. You don't have to say I or my or this or that. We know it's your resume. It's all about you. And what you could also do is if you cut the, say, a and the and all that, you could save a lot of space and they're not really essential. And I'll show just a quick example. I launched a YouTube channel. Just say launched YouTube channel. It's a lot quicker, it's more direct, more concise, and it really just lands the point quicker than including personal pronouns and articles. The next thing that I want to walk through is, as you're writing your bullet points on your resume, what you want to do is you want to lead with action verbs. And so what do I mean by that? Well, on the left-hand side, I have what I describe as boring words that really just don't impress. I participated, I assisted, I contributed, I supported, I helped, I was responsible for, someone else assigned it to me and I was responsible for it. Those words, when you look at those as a hiring manager, it doesn't show initiative, it doesn't show drive. What you want to do is you really want to go with strong action verbs. And what I mean by that is I coordinated, I designed, I drove, I programmed, I led, negotiated, accomplished, I saved. Those words are so much more powerful, and it shows that you're willing to take initiative, drive to get things done. And that's what hiring managers are looking for. And the one thing is, your mom, if you went to your mom and said, hey mom, I assisted with scoring a goal, I was sitting on the bench and I was cheering the scorer on, your mom's probably gonna be like, oh Kevin, that's okay, I mean, good boy, but I mean, okay, that's not a great accomplishment. So go with the strong action verbs. And the next thing that's worth saying is we're kind of going through how do you structure your resume, how do you write your bullet points, and what I want to show you is how you take what you did and you really enhance it so it really makes you shine. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to invent new things. Unless, of course, you're an inventor, then yes, feel free to talk all about your inventions, fair game. But what I mean by this is if you, say, went to high school or you were in college and you had a 2.6 GPA, that doesn't quite round up to a 4.0. So you don't want to just round it up. That's not the way to do it. And if you went to Harvard High School, don't go around telling people you went to Harvard. You can see how people can misunderstand that. Instead, really make sure you're clear that it was Harvard High School, okay? So I've walked through how you can write your bullet points using the action, context, result, and quantify model. Now what I want to do is actually show you how you can pull together your resume. And I mentioned earlier that I work at Microsoft, so of course I'm going to tell you how to use Microsoft Word to pull together your resume. And here I am on my desktop, and if you have Microsoft Word installed, you'll find it on your taskbar here. If you don't have Word, don't worry, you could actually use it for free. And the way you could use it for free is you're going to navigate to, I'm going to just show a quick example here. You're going to navigate to a website called office.com, and on office.com, click on the sign in button. You could sign in using a Microsoft account, or you could create a new account entirely for free. It won't cost you anything. And once you log into office.com, you'll see a website like this. You could click into Word, and then under more templates, you have all sorts of templates, but they also have some resume templates. So here's one example of a resume template. So you could use this as a starting point for your resume. what you're going to do is you're going to land on this home screen, and you could click on more templates, and within templates they have a section or a category for resumes and cover letters. I could click on that, and then you'll see many different resume examples that you could use. It's actually pretty awesome. You could choose whichever one kind of floats your boat. You could choose one with a picture, or you could choose one without a picture, whichever one you want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to choose one of these generic ones right here. So it's just modern chronological resume. So here you see the resume here. Now what's cool is in the latest version of Microsoft Word, they have something called the Resume Assistant. And what you could do with that is, so Microsoft acquired LinkedIn a few years back. And what they did is they've been integrating LinkedIn more and more with Microsoft Word. And what you can see here, so I work at Microsoft, I'm a senior program manager, so I could type in my role or my title. I could also indicate the industry that I'm in. And then what it'll do is it'll give example bullet points that you could use. So you could use these as examples as you're writing yours, and you'll see that many of these follow the same strategy. We're here, delivered, established. You see that nice strong action word, and then here you see how we're quantifying with the 17% year over year. So you could use these as examples. So whatever job you've had in the past, feel free to search for whatever your title was, whatever industry it was, and then LinkedIn will basically pull up examples from resumes that are on LinkedIn, and you could use those as an example. The nice thing about Word is what you could do is with this example resume, you could go in and then you could just fill out these sections. You could follow the model that I shared with you with the action, and then kind of what you did, the context, result, and quantify, and fill that out. And then the education, that's more straightforward, where you put down the school, the years. And for skills, you could just kind of list out bullets. But in general, these are some tips on how you can write a great resume. Take it from me as a hiring manager. I see lots of resumes, some good, some bad. But hopefully if you follow these techniques, any hiring manager that sees your resume in the future will be very impressed by it, and they'll call you in for a full-time interview, and then you'll really have the chance to sell the employer on why you are the right candidate for the job. So hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll get a notification anytime new content like this comes out. And also, if there are any other videos that you want to see me cover in the future, anything else that you want to learn, feel free to leave a comment down below. I read all the comments that come in, and I'll take the idea and add it to my list of videos to create in the future. And hey, that's all I had for you today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.